All rise. The sessions court is now in session. Tuan Salim Bashir is proceeding.
Hi, everyone. Good morning to everyone. We will start the proceedings. Let me introduce myself, Salim Bashir, presiding over the Sessions Court proceedings today. I call upon the prosecution to introduce themselves.
Good morning, Honorable Judge and my fellow learned friends. We are the prosecution and our team consists of 5 members. My name is Lim Ching Ying and I'm representing Prosecution Counsel 1. And Prosecution Counsel 2 is represented by Jaya Ganesh. Then we have PW1, who is Clement Hee Ji Kang. We also have PW2, Tan Boon Wee. And lastly, our instructing solicitor is C. Jia Wei. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Defense.
Your Honor, we are the defense counsel consists of 5 members. I am Daniel Kaim bin Hasdi.
We are in the Malaysian setting. Please bear in mind not to address the bench as Your Honor. Okay, you can call the session judges, Tuan, that suffices. Okay.
Tuan, the defense counsel team consists of 5 members.
Thank you.
I am Daniel Kaim bin Hasdi, defense counsel 1. Beside me is my learned co-counsel, defense counsel 2, Aiman Zarif bin Zarulail, witness 1.
Where is Aiman Zarif? Okay, yeah, proceed.
The witness 1 is Khairiyah Malik, witness 2 is Intan Nadira, and finally the instructing solicitor Danish Yuzam, Tuan.
Aiman Zarif, not to show your piece to the bench. Just acknowledge by nodding. That applies to everyone.
Sorry, Tuan, I was raising my hand.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you. Just acknowledge in the normal settings, in online hearings. Okay, please just acknowledge. Okay, or you can say that is so, my lord, if it's in the court proceedings. Okay, thank you. Proceed.
We will call for case number SDK-63ES-C66-2021. Public Prosecutor versus Alan Kusuma is now in session.
Yes.
To both counsel, please be mindful of your time as we will not notify you on your time management. So, can the accused take the stand?
Yes. Thank you. Before we start, prosecution, have you complied with section 51A? We can't hear you.
Yes, Tuan. The prosecution has complied with section 51A by serving the pre-trial bundle of documents to the defense 7 days before the trial starts.
Defense, are you confirming that?
Tuan, we confirm.
Thank you. Proceed.
Can the accused take the stand?
Yes, sure. Prosecution, do you want to read out the charge to the accused person and take his plea? And we can start it. Please do so.
With the court permission, I would like to display the charge sheet by sharing the screen.
Thank you.
Much obliged.
The prosecution shall now commence reading the charge sheet.
Prosecution, you are not allowed to read the charge sheet. The only person allowed is the court interpreter. Mr. Adam, You can proceed to read the charge.
Much obliged, Tuan. According to your to the case mentioned on the 15th October, the accused have understood the charge that was brought out against him, and he also plead not guilty. The charge was that you, between 3 April to 5 April 2021, without license or expressly authorized by the Sabah Forestry Department, had cut 101 trees in the Tangkulak Forest Reserve in the district of Selupit, Sabah. And thereby, you have committed an offense under Section 20, Subsection 2 of the Forest Enactment 1968, and upon conviction, you can be punished under the same section.
Thank you, Mr. Adam. Prosecution, proceed.
Tuan,
Take the plea first. Mr. Adam, can you ask his plea?
The accused, do you plead guilty or do you not?
Not guilty.
Mr. Clement, do you understand the charge?
Yes.
Do you understand the nature and consequences what being read?
Yes.
What is your plea?
The prosecution. Much apologies, Tuan. I'm not the.
Who is the accused
accused.
person? Sorry, I can't get. Who's the accused person?
I'm the witness.
Oh, okay. Who is the accused person? Mr. Adam? Where is Mr. Alan Kusuma?
I am Mr. Alan Kusuma.
Please acknowledge yourself. Yes. Mr. Alan Kusuma, do you understand the charge?
I don't understand the charge.
You understand the nature and consequences of the charge?
I understand.
What is your plea?
Not guilty.
Pardon?
I
Speak
plead
louder.
not guilty.
Not
I
guilty.
plead not guilty, Tuan.
Plead
Yeah.
not guilty. Okay, prosecution, proceed.
Tuan, the
Tuan.
prosecution,
Yes.
Tuan, the prosecution shall now commence the opening statement of the prosecution.
Yes, please.
Tuan, may it please the court, my name is Douglas Lasimbang, acting on behalf of the prosecution. Together with me is my learned co-counsel, Jaya Ganesh. Before I start, would Tuan require the clarification to be addressed before the trial starts to prevent any confusion?
No, it's okay. You can just, how many witnesses you have?
I have 2 witnesses.
All right. So it's okay. You can read out your opening statements.
Much obliged, Tuan. The accused, Alan Kusuma, is charged under Section 20, Subsection 2 of the Forest Enactment 1968 for felling 120 trees in the Tangkulak Forest Reserve in Telupit, Sabah, without license or express authority by the Sabah Forestry Department between 3rd April to 5th April 2021. If found guilty, a fine not exceeding 500,000, an imprisonment for a term not less than 1 year and not exceeding 20 years would be imposed on the accused. This case is about an accused who used a fake permit to fell the trees, pretending that he had the lawful authority to fell trees in the forest reserve. The elements of charge to be proven in this case include, firstly, there were 120 felled trees. Secondly, there was no license or express authority to fell the trees. Thirdly, the falling of trees was from the forest reserve. And lastly, it was the accused or his agents who committed the act. As this is a criminal case, the prosecution bears the burden to prove the ingredients of charge beyond reasonable doubt, except one element. The accused has the burden to prove that he has the lawful authority to fell trees within a forest reserve, and this must be proven on the balance of probabilities by virtue of Section 38, Subsection 1 of the Forest Enactment 1968. In order to prove the prosecution's case, the prosecution has filed the pre-trial bundle of documents containing the location map of FMU 17A, B, and C, Form 11A, Lesson Mengambil Keluaran Hutan Bebas Story Royalty dated 10 March 2021, Notice Penyitaan pursuant to Section 37, Subsection 2, Paragraph B, Subparagraph 1 of the Forest Enactment 1968 dated 5th April 2021, 5 pieces of photos taken by Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim dated 5th April 2021, Police Report Number Telupit 00101/21 dated 5th April 2021, and lastly, the Surat Pengesahan Status Hutan Simpan Tangkulak addressed to Encik Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu dated 9 April 2021. The prosecution is calling 2 witnesses. Firstly, PW1 Mr. Richard Lee, the Assistant Forest District Officer of Telupit. Mr. Richard Lee will tell the court how he caught the accused employees red-handed and committing illegal logging activities. And secondly, Mr. Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu, the Assistant Forest District Officer and Investigating Officer of the case, who will tell the court that the accused employees had used a fake permit to commit illegal logging within the Tangkulak Forest Reserve. Tuan, the purpose of Forest Enactment 1968 is to conserve, preserve, and protect the forest. However, the accused had blatantly disregarded the Forest Enactment 1968 by using a fake permit to fell trees. And such a selfish action should be strongly condemned. After hearing all the evidence, the prosecution would like to request the court to find the accused guilty. This ends the prosecution's opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you may call your prosecution witness.
Tuan, before the prosecution called PW1, the prosecution would like to tender the authorization to prosecute pursuant to Section 377, Paragraph B of the Criminal Procedure Code dated 31st May 2021, found in page 12 of the bundle of documents.
Okay. Yeah.
With court permission, I would like to display the exhibit by sharing the screen.
Tuan, we would like to mark this authorization to prosecute as Appendix 1.
Okay.
Much obliged, Tuan. With the permission from the court, I would like to call PW1 Richard
Have
Lee.
you, Miss Lim, have you extended a copy to the defense?
Yes, the prosecution has also included this authorization to prosecute in the pre-trial bundle of documents. With the permission from the court, I would like to call PW1 Richard Lee.
Before that, court must accept that as an exhibit. Defense, do you have any objections to this document being tendered as an exhibit to this proceeding?
There are no objections from the defense counsel.
Thank you. Interpreter, what number of the exhibits that we shall tender this sanction? Can't hear you, Mr. Adam. What number? Mr. Adam, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, Tuan. Sorry.
What number? Exhibits? Exhibit number.
Exhibit number.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Adam, it's okay. I'll assist you on that. Okay, we tender this as P1. Okay, prosecution exhibit number 1. All right. So yeah, it's marked as number 1. All right, proceed, Ms. Lim. Thank you.
Much obliged, Tuan. With the permission from the court, I'd like to call PW1 for examination in chief.
Yes. Mr. Richard, is it?
Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Mr. Richard, please state your name, IC number, address, and occupation.
My name is Richard Lee with the IC number 720120125689. My address is Taman Fajar Batu 7, Sandakan, Sabah, and I am the Assistant Forest District Officer of Terlebih.
Thank you. Yes, proceed.
Mr. Richard Lee, please state your oath.
I, Richard Lee, with the IC
Next time,
number.
what you all do, the prosecution, witnesses, and all that, take together, introduce yourself together with the oath. Okay, that suffices. Okay, proceed.
With the IC number 720120125689, take oaths, declare and affirm that the evidence that I shall give to the court in the case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Okay. Yes.
Tuan, I would like to request for our instructing solicitor to display the witness statement
You
for
have to inform the court
PW1.
first. You have to inform the court first for permission to introduce the evidence by way of a witness statement. Okay, Ms. Lim,
Yes.
right?
With the permission of the court, pursuant to section 402B of the Criminal Procedure Code, the prosecution have prepared a witness statement for PW1, Mr. Richard Lee.
Right.
The
Then,
prosecution-
Daniel, defense, any objections? Them tendering it under 402B?
Yeah, no objections from the defense team.
Okay,
No,
witness
Tuan.
statement has been exchanged. Yeah, witness statement given to them, huh? Okay, so they have sufficient time to read. Okay. So would you like to ask the witness to read this witness statement?
Yes, Tuan.
Okay, proceed.
With the court permission, I would like to display the witness statement PW1 by sharing the screen.
At question number 3, Mr. Richard Lee, can you identify this document?
Yes, this is the witness statement that I prepared.
What is your occupation?
I'm the Assistant Forest District Officer at the Terlebih Forestry Office.
What is your qualification?
I obtained a diploma in forestry from UPM in 29. I've attended several courses on forest management, enforcement management, wildlife trafficking. I've testified in the court for 3 times.
How long have you been serving for the Sabah Forestry Department?
I've been serving for the Sabah Forestry Department for 11 years.
Why are you here in court today?
I'm here to give testimonies for the case of illegal logging against Alan Kusuma between 3rd April 2021 to 5th April 2021. This is my 4th time appearing in the court to give testimony.
What is your usual job scope?
I carry out the daily ground patrolling and area surveillance to monitor if there is any illegal logging activity in the gadgets as forest reserve.
What is the frequency in conducting ground patrolling and aerial surveillance?
We conduct the ground patrolling and area surveillance every day on weekdays.
When was the last day you conducted patrolling work? Mr. Richard Lee, when was the last day you conducted patrolling work?
The last patrolling was conducted on 2nd April 2021.
When did you find out about the illegal logging activities involved in our present case?
I found out about the illegal logging on 5th of April around 9:30 a.m.
Where did the illegal logging happen?
The illegal logging happened at Tangkulak Forest Reserve at the location identified by the unmanned aerial vehicles UAV to be at the latitude 5.3 at 55253364 and longitude 117.227143166500703.
Witness, since there was a technical glitch earlier, can you please repeat the longitude of the location?
The longitude of the location is 117.227.143.16650.703.
If I were to show you the site map, would you be able to identify it?
Yes.
With the permission from the court, I would like to refer the witness to the location map of FMU 17A, B, and C found in page 13 of the bundle of documents.
Yes, please, you may do so.
With the court permission, I would like to display the location map by sharing the screen.
Yes, please.
Much obliged.
Witness, can you identify this document?
Yes, this is a location map of FMU 17A, which shows the Tangkulak Forest Reserve in the district of Telubit, Sabah.
Can you pinpoint where exactly the illegal logging happens?
The blue spot on the map.
How did you find out about the illegal logging activities?
I led a team of 3 enforcement officers, Peter Mogin, Awan Ahmad, Awan Ibrahim, and Danny Ivan, to do ground patrolling and area surveillance. After hovering the UAV for at least 15 to 20 minutes at 320 feet above the ground of the South Tangkulak Forest Reserve near the Pinaga Reserve, we saw an aerial view of cut down trees. After having a closer look through the UAV controller screen, we believe there must be some suspicious activities in the forest reserve area.
Were you the team leader of the enforcement officers?
Yes, I led the team, but Peter Mogin, Awan Ahmad, Awan Ibrahim, and Danny Ivan were my subordinates.
What did you do afterwards when you discovered the suspicious activities?
We immediately hopped into our pickup truck and drove to the area, which has been identified earlier by Peter Mogin. We arrived there after half an hour and do a quick observation without the workers knowing our presence.
What did you see at the crime scene?
We saw 5 tractors, 5 lorries, and piles of logs of various size. There are at least 5 workers at the site, and all of them were busy uploading the logs onto the lorries using the Komatsu model tractor. We also see the Hitachi excavator parked at the roadside.
Did you find anything else at the scene?
No, I did not see any other things except the machineries and forest produce I seized. I also did not see any marking at the scenes.
Earlier, you mentioned that you drove to the area which had been identified by Peter Mogin. Who is Peter Mogin?
Peter Mogin is the forest ranger of Telubit Forestry Office. He's my colleague.
What is his role during the discovery of suspicious activities?
He pilots the unmanned aerial vehicle UAV, a Phantom 4 DJI quadcopter model belonging to the Sabah Forestry Department.
Who instructed him to pilot the UAV?
I instruct him to pilot the UAV.
What actions did you take afterwards?
Peter and I approached one of the workers while Awan and Danny remained in the pickup truck. Peter Mogin has requested for a backup team from the office. After introducing myself as Forest Ranger, the man introduced himself as Mark Angus, work as a site supervisor. I requested him to show us a license or permit for the forest clearing activities. He gave me the permit, but I was suspicious that it was a fake permit.
What was the nature of the permit being shown to you?
It is a photocopy Form 11A, lesson mengambil keluaran hutan bebas dari royalty date 10 March 2021.
If I were to show you the first permit, would you be able to identify it?
Yes.
With the permission from the court, I would like to refer the witness to Form 11A, lesson mengambil keluaran hutan bebas dari royalty dated 10 March 2021, found in page 14 of the bundle of documents.
Yes, please. Thank you.
For permission, I would like to display Form 11A by sharing the screen.
Thank you.
Witness, can you identify this document?
Yes, that was an alleged fake permit that Mark Angus has passed to us.
Can you explain to the court why you suspected that the permit was fake?
I suspect the permit was fake because it was incomplete and not in compliance with the statutory Form 11A, as there is no detailed description of forest produce stated in the permit. At the line 4 of the permit, the sentence should end at keluaran hutan. However, the word simpanan Tangkulak, kawasan was purposely added to accommodate the area that the forest produce can be taken. It is a willful and deliberate change to the statutory Form 11A. Furthermore, the approximate area of Tangkulak Forest Reserve is approximate 28,000 hectares. However, the area stated in the permit was 1,300 km per circuit, which amounts to 101 130,000 hectares.
What did you do after suspecting that the permit was fake?
I decide to contact our Teluk Forestry Office for verifications. The Teluk District Officer, Mr. Azman Ahmad, contact me back to a three-way call, including me, Mr. Azman Ahmad, and Harisa Marisa, the officer from the Forest Department headquarters in Sandakan, after a couple of minutes, and confirmed no application was received and such a permit was never issued by the Teluk Forestry Office or the forestry headquarters in Sandakan.
What did you do after you verified that the permit was fake?
I immediately instruct Mark to tell his workers to stop their activities, and I caution them they had committed an offense under the Forest Enactment 1968. They will be arrested to assist the investigation.
Who has been arrested at the crime scene?
There are 5 suspects being arrested at the crime scene, Mark Angus and the 4 general workers.
After the arrest was made, what was your next step?
I seized all the machineries and forest produce. Then I prepared a notice of seizure, checked and signed by Mark Angus.
If I were to show you the notice penyitaan, would you be able to identify it?
Yes.
With the permission from the court, I would like to refer the witness to notice penyitaan pursuant to section 37, subsection 2, paragraph B, paragraph 1 of the Forest Enactment 1968, dated 5th April 2021 at page 15 of the bundle of documents.
Defense, you have all these documents?
Yes, Tuan.
Okay. Yeah, please proceed.
Witness, can you identify this document?
Yes, this is the notice penyitaan.
When was this document prepared?
The document was prepared on 5th of April 2021.
Who prepared this document?
I prepared the document.
How can you prove that this is prepared by you?
I was the one who found the crime scene and seized the item. I led the seizure and then signed, verified on this notice of seizure.
Can you confirm that the signature on the notice penyitaan, that is your
Yes.
signature?
Yes, that's my signature.
What are the items seized from the crime scene?
The items seized from the crime scene was 1 excavator, 5 tractors Komatsu, 5 lorry, 5 tractor Komatsu, 5 lorry trailer Mercedes, 5 Husqvarna 460 chainsaw, 70 kayu belial, and 131 logs kayu agar wood.
With the permission from the court, I would now like to refer the witness to the 5 pieces of photos taken by Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim dated 5th April 2021, found in page 16 to 20 of the bundle of documents.
With court permission, I would like to display the 5 pieces of photos by sharing the screen.
Photographs and all that being given out to the defense.
Yes.
Thank you.
Witness, can you identify these photos?
Yes.
What are these photos?
These are the photos taken in the crime scene during the seizure. Photo A showing the excavator piling up the woods. Photo B was the logs found in the scenes. And photo C shows the entry to the crime scenes. And photo D and E are the logs that has been found in the crime scenes.
Who took these photos?
Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim took these photos.
Who is Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim?
He is one of the forest rangers.
Who instructed him to take the photos?
I instruct him to take the photos.
What did he use to take the photos?
He used a Nikon D3500D SLR.
Who was in charge of the camera?
I was in charge, in possession, in control of the camera.
When did Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim take the photos?
He took the photos at 11 a.m.
Can you confirm that the camera is in good working condition at the time the photos were taken?
Yes.
Who printed out the photos?
I sent the soft copy to my colleague to print out the photos.
What did you use to print the photos?
We used the Epson Ecotem ET4750 inkjet.
Who was in charge of the printer?
I was in charge, in possession, in control of the printer.
When did you print out the photos?
We print out the photos on 5th of April 2021.
Can you confirm that the printer is in good working condition at the time the photos were taken?
Yes.
What did you do afterwards?
All the suspects were brought back to the Teluk Forestry Office, and I had gone to the Teluk Police District Office to lodge an arrest report.
If I were to show you, would you be able to identify the arrest report?
Yes.
With the permission from the court, I would like to refer the witness to the police report number Telupit/00101/21 dated 5th April 2021, found in page 21 of the bundle of documents.
Yes, proceed.
With the court permission, I would like to display police report by sharing the screen.
Thanks.
Witness, can you identify this report?
Yes,
Who lodged this report?
I lodged this report.
When did you lodge this report?
The report was lodged between 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. on 5th April 2021.
Can you endorse what was stated in the police report?
Yes,
What did you do after lodging the arrest report?
on the instructions of the Telubit Forestry Officer, Mr. Azman Ahmad, the case was assigned to IO Ahmad Adidu. And at about 2:30 p.m. on the same day, I've passed the notice of seizure, arrest report, print photo of crime scenes, fact permit, and the 5 suspect to IO Ahmad Adidu.
Is the IO, Mr. Ahmad Ladidu, present in court today?
Yes,
Can you identify him?
yes, he is the one wearing the white shirts.
With the permission from the court, the prosecution would like to put on record that PW1 had identified PW2.
Yes.
Much obliged, Tuan. And lastly, with the permission from the court, the prosecution would like PW1 to sign his witness statement.
I would like to sign the digital signature on my witness report. Signed, verified by me.
Tuan, I see that my time is up. May I request for an extension of 5 minutes to tender the
Yes, you may.
exhibits? Much obliged, Tuan. With the permission from the court, I would like the location map of FMU 17A, B, and C found in page 13 of the bundle of documents, first mentioned in question 13 of the witness statement, to be marked as P1.
Any objections, defense?
No objections. Your Tuan,
Yes.
there are no objections from the defense counsel.
No objections. Interpreter, mark P exhibit P.
P,
E2.
P2.
P2.
P2. Before that, prosecution, you must seek permission to admit the prosecution's witness statement as an evidence.
Tuan, as we have inquired the organizer instructed us to not tender the witness statement as an exhibit.
Not to tender.
Yes.
Not to tender.
Yes.
Okay. It could be the rules of competition, but in an actual trial, the witness statement must be tendered, okay, in court, okay, as an exhibit, prosecution exhibit, because that is part of the evidence in a proceeding, in substitute of an oral evidence. Okay, so in compliance with 402B, it is taken as an evidence of proceedings. So therefore, the witness statement should be tendered as part of the evidence. But anyhow, for the purpose of rules of these competitions, I will excuse that attachment of the witness statements to be tendered as an evidence. But I will take it that it has been complied with all rules of evidence of a witness giving an oral testimony. With that, I proceed to mark the map as exhibit P2, prosecution witness evidence number 2. Thank you.
Much obliged.
With the permission from the court, I would like to mark Form 11A, Lesson Mengambil Keluaran Hutan Bebas Dari Royalty, dated 10 March 2021, which can be found in question 26 and at page 14 of the bundle of documents as exhibit ID 3.
ID
3.
3. The earlier one, you're marking it as a P or ID?
The earlier one, location map, we are marking it as P2.
You're marking it as P2.
Yes.
The form, you're marking it as ID 3.
Yes.
It should be prosecution ID number 3. Okay.
Much obliged, Tuan. With the permission from the court, I would like to mark the notice penyitaan pursuant to Section 37, subsection 2, paragraph B, paragraph 1 of the Forest Enactment 1968, dated 5th April 2021, first mentioned in question 33 and at page 15 of the bundle of documents to be marked as Exhibit P4.
This is Jabatan Perhutanan Sabah. You want it to be marked as P4?
Yes.
Defense, do you have any objections?
No objection, subject
Who
to the
prepared
cross.
this document?
Richard Lee prepared this document.
Okay. So you are marking it through him as P4. Thank you.
Yes, Don.
Thank you.
Much obliged. With the permission of the court, I would like to mark the 5 pieces of photos taken by Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim, dated 5th April 2021, found in question 39 at page 16 to 20 of the bundle of documents to be marked as Exhibit P5 small a, small b, small c, small d, and small e.
Objections, Tuan?
Objections? Can we hear the objections?
Tuan, Richard Lee, the plaintiff witness one, is not the producer of the documents.
Plaintiff? Richard Lee is the prosecution witness, right?
Yes.
Why you're calling him as a plaintiff?
Sorry, apologies, Tuan. The prosecution's witness, Richard Lee, is not the producer of the document, the aforesaid photos.
Okay, he is not a producer of the photograph. You meant to say that he didn't take the photograph. Is that what you are saying?
Yes, Tuan.
Okay. Ms. Lim, yes.
Tuan, the prosecution's reply is, even though Mr. Richard Lee is not the maker of the photographs, however, he instructed his subordinates to take these photos. And upon taking the photos, he verified the photos. And also, prior to printing of the photos, he had also verified the photos, and then this was also done after the photos were printed out. And hence, he is a person having personal knowledge of the photographs. Hence, the prosecution submits that this document should be tendered as Exhibit P5 small a until small e.
He is not the person who took the photograph, right?
Yes.
He have no knowledge the condition of that photo, their location at that material time, correct? So appropriately, the person who took the photo is the photographer. Are you calling the photographer?
No, Tuan, we are not calling the photographer.
And you don't even know who actually uploaded this entire thing in the computer. Am I right?
The prosecution humbly begs to differ because all this whole process in reproducing the photographs, from taking the photographs until these photographs were printed out, was supervised by Mr. Richard Lee, and he has verified the whole process. He is a person having personal knowledge over the photographs. Hence, the prosecution submits that these photographs should be tendered as P5.
See, but he didn't take the photo. Is there 90A certificates?
Your Honor, much apologies, Tuan. There's no Section 90A certificate tendered in our present case. However, the prosecution submits that since the camera and printer are both under the possession and control of Mr. Richard Lee, and as such, if referring to the case of Nana Segaran against PP, the digital evidence certificate is not required under Section 90A of the
Nana
Evidence Act.
Segaran talks about admission of an evidence under the computer printed documents, right? But
Yes.
the photographer were brought in to give evidence. Okay, it's only later the question of admissibility arose, where it had been correctly pointed out by Nana Segaran. Okay, you need not call the maker, or you need not call the person who produced the document through a computer if the maker presence. In our case, the person who actually took the photograph is not called as a witness. Therefore, evidentially, I am not obliged to admit this photograph as part of prosecution's evidence. However, I allow this document to be admitted as an ID. to be referred for the purpose of these proceedings. Thank you.
Much obliged, Tuan. And lastly, with the permission
Before
from the
that,
court,
let us mark the document. Sorry, not IDD, ID. How many photographs you have there?
5 pieces of photographs.
IDD 5 A to
Yes.
E.
E. Yes.
Okay, proceed.
Much obliged, Tuan. And lastly, with the permission from the court, I would like the police report number Telupit/00101/21 dated 5th April 2021, first mentioned in question 55 and at page 21 of the bundle of documents to be marked as Exhibit P6.
Any objections?
No objections from the
You have
defense
the
counsel.
reports given to you under 51A.
Yes, Tuan.
Thank you. We mark this as P6.
Much obliged, Tuan. That's all for the prosecution's examination in chief for PW1, Mr. Richard Lee.
Thank you. Second witness, are you cross-examinations? If any.
Tuan, may the defense counsel proceed with the cross-examination questions for prosecution witness 1, Mr. Richard Lee. May we proceed, Tuan?
Please, please.
Mr. Lee, I refer to you to the police report dated 5th of April 2021, that is standard P6, the prosecution's bundle of documents. Do you agree with me that this is the police report that was made by you after the raid?
Yes.
Do you confirm that the contents inside the police report was made by you?
Yes.
Based on the police report that was made by you, can you tell to the court who were with you when the raid happened?
When the raid happened, there are Peter Morgan, Awan Ibrahim, and also Danny Ivan.
Mr. Lee, how did you obtain
And
the
then we call backup team. There's another. Sorry, counsel.
Proceed with the answer.
Okay. Yes, there are. Yeah. Sorry, counsel. I'm experiencing a connection issue. Will you please rephrase your question?
Based on the police report that was made by you, can you tell to the court who were with you when the raid happened?
Yes, there are me and another 3 subordinates, who is Peter Morgan, Awan Ibrahim, and Danny Ivan.
Next question. Mr. Lee, how did you obtain the information that the activity of cutting of trees was within the area of the Tangkulak Forest Reserve?
We found it with an UAV, which taken there's an area of empty land and there's an area of felled trees. And we identified it through the UAV and we found out the exact locations.
Mr. Lee, at line number 8 of the police report, document P6, you stated that saya telah mengarahkan Peter Morgan untuk merekodkan beberapa gambar di kawasan tersebut dan setelah imej diperbesarkan, dapat dilihat dengan jelas aktiviti penebangan pokok dilakukan di kawasan tersebut. Mr. Lee, can you confirm before this honorable court where is the specific location of this activity happened?
The photo, the photo that have been taken is by UAV. So it is happened at the latitude and longitude that I provide in my EIC.
Can you clarify again the latitude and longitude?
Sure. The latitude, it is happened at the Tangkulak Forest Reserve, and it is identified the location by the unmanned aerial vehicles to be at the latitude 5.3 at 5525334 at 7, and the longitude 117.227143166507073.
Mr. Lee, When Peter Mongin took the picture using the unmanned aerial vehicle, which will be now known as UAV, is there any latitude or longitude transpire in the pictures that was taken by him?
Yes, the yes.
Tuan, may the may the defense counsel ask the permission to show the evidence?
What you are trying to show? What is that? What is the document that you want to?
Document in the pictures, which is ID3.
IDD, is it?
IDD. Apologies, Tuan.
Okay. What is that IDD? ID 5.
ID5, yes.
Yeah. This is photograph A and B. Is that true?
Yes, Tuan.
Okay. Yes, please proceed.
Mr. Lee, can you show to the court, based on the prosecution's bundle of documents, any pictures taken by Peter Mongin using the UAV to produce before the court?
No.
Mr. Lee, apologies. Can the defense counsel ask the permission to show the police report identified as P6, Tuan?
Yes. P6.
Obliged, Tuan. Mr. Lee, I refer you to line 3 of the police report that you made. Can you tell to the court how far is the starting point when you conducted the routine harian pemantauan to the site that you allege that there is activity of cutting trees?
We start our ground patrolling at the entry of the forest reserve, and after we have hovering the UAV for 15 or 20 minutes, we've identified the locations that there's an area of felled tree. So we went to the locations, then we found out that the location, we've confirmed the exact location, then we went to the location in 30 minutes.
Mr. Lee, when you arrived at the site that you allege that there were activities of cutting trees, is there any officer that went with you taking any GPS of the location?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, when you met Mr. Mark Angus, the site supervisor, after you received the photocopy of the permit, how did you verify the permit before you conclude to say that the permit produced to you by Mark Angus is a fake permit?
First, when I first received the permit, I suspicious that it was a fake permit due to the discrepancy on the permit. And I do a double confirmations with my superior in the Teluk district office, and they contact me through a 3-way call, which we get the confirmations from the Teluk Forestry Department and the Forestry Department headquarters in Sandakan, which means that this application is never issued, is never applied and issued by it's never applied by any applicants and issued by either the Teluk Forestry or the Sandakan headquarters Forestry Department. Yes, double confirmation.
Mr. Lee, how long have you been working as the Teluk Forestry officer?
I've been working for as a forestry officer of 11 years and Teluk 5 to 6 years.
When I say verify, did you make contact or make any kinds of communication to verify the permit to the Forest Department?
I contact my superior and they confirm with me that it is a fake permit, never issued.
Mr. Lee, can you read out to the court, based on your police report, the equipment that has been seized by you and your team members?
Okay, I read out the equipment that I have seized in my police report, which is I'm so sorry. Okay, so there are 5 tractor Komatsu and 1 Hitachi XEX 1203, 5 lorry trailer Mercedes 911 and 5 unique Husqvarna 460 chainsaw and 50 and sorry there is 70 kayu belia and 131 kayu agar wood.
Mr. Lee, do you agree with me that based on the police report, document tendered P6, that you made after the raid, there was no mention of the accused name, Mr. Alan Kasuma? Am I correct?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, can you explain to the court, apart from Alan Kasuma, were there any other person who were also charged in respect to the raid that was made by you and your team members?
Besides, no.
Mr. Lee, I suggest to you that the person that should be charged before the court in respect to the alleged illegal logging is Mr. Mark Angus and other workers who are at the site and who did the cutting of the trees. Do you agree?
No.
Mr. Lee, can you describe the situation of Mr. Mark Angus when he handed to you the alleged fake permit?
He looked calm when he handed the permits to me.
During the raid, were the site supervisor and workers being cooperative during the raid?
Yes.
So you agree with me that the situation during the raid was peaceful and not chaotic?
Yes.
Did Mr. Mark Angus and any of the workers try to run away when you allegedly stated the permit was forged?
No.
Mr. Lee, so you agree with me that they are being cooperative during the raid?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, do you agree that an apologies, Mr. Lee, do you agree that an innocent person will be more cooperative than a guilty person?
The facts that they are innocent, the facts that they do not know that there is a fake permit does not deny the facts that the permit has never issued.
The question is, Mr. Lee, would a guilty person be more cooperative compared to an innocent person?
So sorry, I'm experiencing another connection issue. Do you mind to repeat your question?
The question is, Mr. Lee, does a guilty person be more cooperative than an innocent person? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question, Mr. Lee.
Sorry, do you mind to repeat? There's a breaking line that just.
Do you agree that a guilty person?
No.
Do you agree that an innocent person will be more cooperative than a guilty person? Yes or no, Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, do you agree with me that Mr. Alan Kusuma did not do the act of cutting of the trees at the site happened on the 5th of April 2021?
Yes.
Did you catch Mr. Alan Kusuma when you did the raid on the 5th of April 2021?
No.
Okay. Mr. Lee, before that, Tuan?
Yes.
The Defense Counsel would like to show to this honorable court the seizure list, document P4.
Okay.
Thank you, Tuan. Much obliged, Tuan. Mr. Lee, can you confirm to the court that this is the seizure list, document P4, that was prepared at the office after you conducted the raid, or during submitting the police report, or it was prepared by you at the site?
It is prepared by me by the site.
So you can confirm to me that it was prepared at the site?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, I refer you the schedule that is in the seizure list. Can you confirm these are the goods seized during the raid happened on 5th of April 2021?
Yes.
In this specific seizure list, document P4, do you agree with me that the person who received the notice is Mr. Mark Angus?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, I refer to you both the police report, document P6, and the seizure list, document P4. Do you agree with me that the police report that you made did not specify the bullion wood and the number of bullion wood that was seized during the raid, but in the seizure list, you specified the bullion wood and the number of bullion wood seized. Am I correct?
One, the prosecution would like to request permission to raise an objection against the defense on the ground that it is a double question, because the number, the amount, the number of wood, and also the number of tractors have already been addressed in the clarifications.
Yeah, but defense, what is your question? What do you do?
The defense questions on the inconsistencies in the police report and the seizure list.
They have a right to raise it, they're just asking it from the witness. No issue, allow the questions.
Much obliged, Tuan. Mr. Lee, do you agree with me if I suggest that there is an error made in the police report and the seizure list?
No.
Mr. Lee, so you confirm with me that there are no inconsistencies made by you in submitting both the police report and the seizure list?
Yes.
All right. In the seizure list, Mr. Lee, do you agree with me that Mr. Alan Kasuma's name does not exist?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, do you agree with me that there is an error of the total number of tractor komatsu in your police report and the seizure list? Am I correct?
This has been clarified in the clarification. There's a typographical error.
Mr. Lee, next question. I refer to you to the seizure list, document P4. Mr. Lee, there is the name of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu.
No.
Was he there during the raid happened?
We call him during 11 p.m. to come to the scenes for witness the notice of seizure.
So he came to the site at 11 p.m. as what you said?
No, I called him 11, then he reached the scene around 11:20.
So you are sure that he arrived at the scene at 11:20 specifically?
Yes.
And then he signed during that moment, after you committed the raid, he signed the seizure list?
Yes. Yes.
Tuan, that is all the cross-examination questions from the defense counsel.
Thank you. Re-examination, if any.
With the permission from the court, the prosecution would like to commence re-examination for PW1, Mr. Richard Lee. Mr. Richard Lee, so you have stated that you have taken some aerial photos, and these photos were taken by Peter Mongin. Can you explain to the court about the process in taking these aerial photos?
For taking the UAV, we are going to hover it to a certain height. So on that day, we're hovering until 320 feet. And we found there's a felled out tree. That's why we lower it down to 30 feet so that we can get a clear pictures and the exact location with the latitude and longitude to direct us to the scenes.
So can you tell us about the characteristics of the UAV?
The UAV is a professional professional tracking machine. So we are going to get the exact locations, the image taken, then with the GPS and latitude and longitude specified there, so that we can identify through the UAV there.
So can you explain to the court about how you extracted the latitude and longitude of the location?
We extract it through the screen controller that we can see, and with the locations, latitude and longitude specifically set up on the screen controller that we have.
All right. And just now, you have also received some questions from the defense counsel on the verification of the permit. And
yes.
what was the reaction of Mark Angus and also the general workers when you arrived at the scene?
I reached there, they looked calm, then I introduced myself as forest ranger, then the Mark Angus site supervisor introduced him to me also.
So why do you suspect that the permit was fake, even though they look calm and cooperative?
I'm an experienced forest officer. So when I received the permit from Mark Angus, when I saw it, I found out a few mistakes. So the key that I
Team, do
identified
not go out of what being asked in the cross, because you're conducting re-examinations. Please
Much
confine
obliged.
to all the questions that are only being raised by the counsel in cross.
Much obliged, Tuan. Witness. So, as following up from my question, why did you ask them to show you the permit even though they look calm and cooperative?
that is a forest area. So that is what the standard operating procedure that we will have, because it is rare to see that there's forest cleaning or logging in the forest reserve. If they want to do it in forest reserve, they must have a specific permit. So that's why I asked from them the permit.
And following up from that question, why do you think that the permit was fake?
The permit was fake because the area that has been stated for the Tangla Forest Reserve.
Objection, Tuan.
Yes.
The question posed by the prosecution team was not raised during the cross.
Yeah. Ms. Lim, I think it's not fair. Yeah, shall raise it during the chief. Since you didn't raise it, they put it to the cross, and apparently this was not raised in the cross. You can't raise it now. Yeah, so you have to retract that question. You can proceed in any other questions that you have.
Much obliged, Tuan. As just now during the cross-examination, the defense counsel has pointed out some discrepancies between the police report and also the notice of seizure. Can you explain to the court about these discrepancies?
The discrepancy has been explained in the prosecution in the clarification that there is a typographical error. So there is no discrepancy between my police report and my notice of seizure.
With the permission of the court, the prosecution would like to request permission to display the prosecution's clarification for the purpose of clearing up any confusion regarding the number of tractors and number of lots.
Okay, was that raised in the cross-examination?
Yes, it was raised during the cross-examination.
Okay. Mr. Daniel, do you have any objections to this?
Objection.
Do you have any objections to the request?
Objection.
What is your objection?
There was no amendment made by the prosecution.
No amendments made.
Mm.
No amendments made. Is that your objection?
Yes. Tuan.
But they can't be amending their documents, isn't it? And it's been explained by the witness that it is a typographical error, and they wish to highlight it to the court, which is the part that that the witness wanting to identify to be corrected as a typo error. So I don't see any issue there. I'm allowing the prosecution's request. Thank you.
Much obliged, Tuan.
Much obliged, Tuan. Witness, can you explain to the court about the discrepancies? Instructing solicitor, please display the clarification.
The discrepancy that there are two discrepancies. So the first is regarding the felt tree. So it is confirmed that it is a typographical error, that there are 120 felt trees, which there are 201 lots, which 70 lots identified as Belian, and the remaining 131 lots identified as Agau. As well as I would like to refer to the clarification number 6, which is an typographical error, and there's 5 tractors. Thus, that this make no discrepancy between my arrest report and my notice of seizure.
Witness, can you confirm that there is no discrepancies in your police report and notice of seizure?
There's another discrepancy. However,
Objection.
it's not really okay. It's not raised by the defense counsel, which is the forest enactment in the arrest report. It is stated that it's 1950, and the clarification here has stated that it is 1968. Thank you. Yes, the clarification number 2.
All right, thank you, witness. Moving on to the next question. Who did you see at this crime scene when you arrived at the illegal logging site?
I saw Mark Angus and 4 general workers.
Did you see Mr. Alan Kusuma?
No.
But during that time, what did Mr. Mark Angus say to you when you approached him?
Okay, so Mr. Mark Angus, he come to me and introduced himself as the site supervisor there.
Objection, Tuan.
Yes,
The question is not raised in cross.
not raised. Ms. Lim, the question was not raised in the cross.
Your Honor, it was raised in the cross-examination
What is
when
the exact nature of the question? Can you read out?
Tuan, are you referring to the
To
question?
the
that I asked?
cross-examination question, what is the exact questions that was asked by the counsel?
He asked whether Alan Kusuma was at the
The exact wordings by Mr. Daniel.
Did you see Alan Kusuma at the scene?
Okay. What is your question, Ms. Lim?
My question is on the identity of Mark Angus at the scene.
The identity was Mark Angus was not raised in the question, right?
The defense had also confirmed with PW1 stating that the person that he saw at the scene was only Mark Angus.
Okay. So what your question is not related to Alan Kusuma, but to Mark Angus. Am I right?
Yes.
And you are trying to establish the feature and identity of Mark Angus. Am I right?
Yes.
Which was not asked by Mr. Daniel. Mr. Daniel, did you ask in any part of your cross-examination on that issue how Mr. Mark Angus looks like?
No, Tuan. The defense counsel did not inquire on the identity of Mr. Mark Angus, Tuan.
With that, I don't allow that question. Thank you.
All right. Much obliged, Tuan. Witness, can you please explain to us about the process of verifying the permit that Mark Angus showed to you?
So I did the verification by contacting back to our Teluk Bid Forestry office, and I contact the district officer, Mr. Azman Ahmad. And after a couple of minutes, Mr. Azman Ahmad contact me back through a 3-way call with me, including me, Mr. Azman Ahmad, and another officer from the Sandakan headquarter, the headquarter forestry department, the officer Harisa Marisa, that confirmed that the issue was never applied, and both the Teluk Bid Forestry office and the Sandakan, the forestry department, did not issue that permit ever.
Thank you, Mr. Richard Lee. Tuan, the prosecution has ended the re-examination for PW1, Mr. Richard Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Richard.
Tuan, since all the examination of witnesses have completed, I would like to request for Mr. Richard Lee, PW1, to be released.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Richard. You are released. Thank you for the coming to court. Yes, you may call your second witness, Muslim.
The prosecution shall now call PW2, Mr. Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu.
Thank you.
It please this court. My name is Jaya, and I am appearing before this court as the second prosecution. I will be conducting the examination in chief of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu. With the court's permission, may the witness take his stand and take his oath.
Yes, you may, Mr. Jaya.
Much obliged, Tuan. Mr. Ahmad, can you please take your oath?
I, Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu, with the IC number 700-228-13-5689, take oath, declare, and affirm that the evidence I shall give to the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. With the court's permission, Tuan, we request the instructing solicitor to display the witness statement of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu.
Yes, you may.
Much obliged. Instructing solicitor, please display the witness statement of Mr. Ahmad. Thank you. Mr. Ahmad, can you please tell us your full name?
My name is Ahmad Ladidu bin Abu Lababu.
And what is your IC number, Mr. Ahmad?
My IC number is 700-228-13-5689.
And what is your address, Mr. Ahmad?
My address is at Kampung Kuala Telupit, Telupit, Sabah.
Mr. Ahmad, have you prepared this witness statement? This is your witness statement, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Ahmad, can you please identify your witness statement?
Yes, this is the witness statement that I've prepared.
Thank you. Mr. Ahmad, can you tell us your occupation at the Forest District?
I'm the Assistant Forest District Officer at the Telupit Forestry Office. I'm also acting as the investigating officer in this case. I was previously posted at the Sabah Forestry Office at Keningau for 7 years. Later in 2015, I was posted to my current office.
Mr. Ahmad, what are your qualifications to be in this position?
I obtained a diploma in forestry from UPMKB in 2007. I have attended several courses on forest management, enforcement management, wildlife trafficking, investigation techniques between 2008 until 2020, organized by the Sabah Forestry Institute, Royal Malaysia Police, Sabah Wildlife Department, and WWF respectively.
And Mr. Ahmad, do you have any experience of acting as a witness before a court?
I've appeared in court more than 10 times to give testimonies for cases relating to illegal logging, wildlife trafficking, and possession of forest produce.
Can you tell us today why you're here in court today?
I'm here to give my witness testimony for this case against Mr. Alan Kuzuma.
Mr. Ahmad, is Mr. Alan Kusuma present in court today? Can you identify him?
Yes, Mr. Alan Kuzuma is in court today.
With the court's permission, the prosecution would like to put on record that the second prosecution's witness has identified the accused, who is Mr. Alan Kusuma.
Okay, identified. Thank
Next
you.
one. Mr. Ahmad, when did you first receive news about the illegal logging at the forest reserve, at the Tangkulak Forest Reserve?
I first received the news on 5th of April 2021 at about 10 a.m. when Peter Monging called to our forestry office and requested for a backup team.
And then what happened after you received this specific news?
I've ordered the backup team of 4 members to the Tangkulak Forest Reserve.
And when did the seizure at the Tangkulak Forest Reserve start exactly?
The seizure started at about 10:30 a.m., where there were 8 officers in total involved in the seizure and arrest.
And can you tell us what is the time you signed as a witness to the notice of seizure?
About 11 a.m., Peter Monging called me for the second time and requested me to sign as a witness to the notice of seizure because I'm one of the authorized Sydney officer to sign as a witness. The signing was done at about 11:30 a.m.
After that time, what happened after you signed the notice of seizure?
After that, Mr. Richard Lee and Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim brought 3 suspects from the scene back to the Telupit Forestry Office, whereas me and Ali Muhammad brought the remaining 2 suspects back to the Telupit Forestry Office. 5 officers left at the scene, were moving back the seized item to the Telupit Forestry Office and complete the action at about 4 p.m.
And when did you When were you instructed to start your investigation on this case, Mr. Ahmad?
At about 2 p.m., the District Forest Officer, Mr. Asman Ahmad, instructed me to investigate the case about the said illegal logging at Tangkulak Forest Reserve.
And when was the exact time you received all the documents from Mr. Richard Lee, who is the first prosecution's witness?
At about 2:30 p.m., my office mate, Mr. Richard Lee, had later came into my office and gave me the notice of seizure, arrest report, printed photos of the scene, and the fake permit. He had further informed me that 5 suspects have been placed in our investigation room.
This Mr. Richard Lee that you just mentioned, can you identify him, and is he in court today?
Yes, I'm able to identify him. He's the one wearing black shirt and he's in court today.
With the court's permission, the prosecution would like to put on record that the second prosecution's witness has identified Mr. Richard Lee, who is the
Yes.
first prosecution's witness.
Yes.
Much obliged, Tuan. Mr. Ahmad, are you able to identify this specific notice of seizure which you say you received from Mr. Richard Lee?
Yes, I'm able to identify it.
With the court's permission, Tuan, we request the instructing solicitor to display the notice of
You may-
seizure, which was
okay.
Exhibit P4. Much obliged, Tuan.
Without permission, I would like to display notice pentaan by Syed. Much obliged.
Mr. Ahmad, can you see this document?
Yes.
Is it visibly clear to you? Can you identify this document?
This is the notice of seizure dated 5th of April and listed is 1 Hitachi excavator EX120-3, 5 Husqvarna 460 chainsaw.
Can the instructing solicitor, can Mr. Ahmad, can you show us where is your signature?
At the section B, I signed there my name.
Dated 5th April 2021, previously tendered by the lead counsel for the prosecution as Exhibit P6. Mr. Ahmad, can you explain what this document actually states, this police report?
It states on 5th of April 2021 at about 9 a.m., Mr. Richard Lee and the 3 other forest officers had operated the UAV for 15 to 20 minutes and noticed the illegal logging activity around 9:20 a.m. They arrived at the scene after 30 minutes. Also, Mr. Mark Angus and 4 other workers were arrested. It also specified the items that were seized.
Mr. Ahmad, will you be able to identify the photos which you say you received from Mr. Richard Lee?
Yes, I can identify them.
Tuan, with the court's permission, we request the 5 photos that were previously tendered as ID 5.
Yes.
Much obliged, Tuan. Mr. Ahmad, can you see these photos? Instructing solicitor, please scroll all the way down. Make sure the witness can see everything. Mr. Ahmad, are all of these photos visibly clear to you? Can you see them?
Yes, Counsel.
Can you please identify these photos?
I identified them as the printed photos of the scene at Tangkulak Forest Reserve taken by Mr. Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim.
We'd like to put on record that the second prosecution's witness has successfully identified exhibit ID 5, which he received from Mr. Richard Lee. Mr. Ahmad, if I were to show you the fake permit that you received from Mr. Richard Lee, will you be able to identify it?
Yes.
With the court's permission, we request the fake permit titled Form 11A, dated 10th March 2021, that was previously tendered as ID 3.
Right. Yes.
With
you may.
permission, I would like to display fake permit by sharing the screen.
Mr. Ahmad, is this document clear to you? Can you see everything clearly?
Yes.
Can you please identify this document?
This is the fake permit titled Form 11 capital A, dated 10th of March 2021 that I received from Mr. Richard Lee.
Mr. Ahmad. We'd like to put on record that the second prosecution's witness has successfully identified this document as the fake permit he titled Form 11A dated 10th March 2021, which he received from Mr. Richard Lee.
Noted.
Mr. Ahmad, in your witness statement, you stated that the permit is fake. Can you explain to us why you made that statement?
It is within my ordinary scope of duty to determine the validity of these permits, and I'm able to identify it as a fake one from its first appearance. This because it does not specify the types of trees to be felled by the permit holder. In addition, at line 4 of the permit tendered, the word Simpan Tangkulap Kawasan was purposely added to show the area that forest produce can be taken, but instead it is in compliance with the statutory Form 11A.
After you found out this permit is actually fake, what did you do next?
To confirm, I contacted Harisa Marisa, the authorized signatory signing on behalf of the Chief Conservator from the Sabah Forestry Department, and also the person in charge for permit application, but she replied, no application was ever received by her or the department, and no permit was being issued at all. On the 12th of April 2021, I've contacted Eunice Malis to further verification, and the response is similar.
Mr. Ahmad, in your witness statement, you also stated that you can confirm the Tangkulap Forest Reserve is indeed a forest reserve. Can you explain how you made this conclusion?
I received a letter dated 9th of April 2021 from the Sabah Forestry Department that confirmed its status as a forest reserve.
This letter that you mentioned, if I were to show you this letter, will you be able to identify it?
Yes.
Tuan, with the court's permission, we request the letter dated 9th April 2021 from the Sabah Forestry Department, which was addressed to Mr. Ahmad Ladidu, who is the second prosecution's witness.
Yes, you may.
Much obliged, Tuan. Mr. Ahmad, can you see this document? Is it visibly clear to you?
Yes.
Can you confirm that that is your name on this document?
Yes.
Can you please identify this letter?
This letter was sent to me by the Sabah Forestry Department on the 9th of April 2021. It confirms the Tangkulap Forest Reserve as a forest reserve specified under the Forest Constitution of Forest Reserve and Amendment Enactment 1984.
With the court's permission, Tuan, we'd like to put on record that the second prosecution's witness has identified this letter as 9th April, dated 9th April 2021, which he received from the Sabah Forestry Department.
Noted. Thank you.
Much obliged, Tuan. Next, Mr. Ahmad, will you be able to identify the Tangkulap Forest Reserve if I were to show you a site map of the location?
Yes, I'm able to identify it in the map.
Tuan, with the court's permission, the prosecution would like to request the instructing solicitor to display the site map, which was previously tendered by the lead counsel as Exhibit P1.
Yes, you may.
Mr. Ahmad, can you see this document clearly?
Yes.
Can you identify this document, and can you point to us exactly where is the Tangkulap Forest Reserve?
It is a red color part of the map labeled as FMU 17 capital A.
With the court's permission, we'd like to put on record that the second prosecution's witness has identified this site map that was previously tendered as Exhibit P1 as the location map of FMU 17A, B, and C. Additionally, he has also pointed out to the court the specific location of the Tangkulap Forest Reserve.
Yes.
Mr. Ahmad, can you tell us how many trees were cut down and how many logs you discovered?
There were a total of 120 felled trees, which accounted for 201 logs, of which 70 logs are Berlian and the remaining 131 logs are agar wood.
And did you discover anything further from that?
I found out that the 4 general workers at the scene were all employed by Suka-Suka Lok Sundaram Berhad for a period of 1 month. Each of the workers had shown their employment letter, which was signed by the human resource manager of the company.
And based on what you just stated, were there only 4 workers?
No, there's one more. I found out that the 5th worker, Mr. Mark Angus, was working as the main person and site supervisor at the scene. He has also been working with Suka-Suka Law Sdn Bhd for a period of 4 years.
And did you discover anything further from that?
Based on my investigation, I found out that a company known as Suka-Suka Law Sdn Bhd was awarded with contract worth 1,700,000 to cut down trees at the area gazetted as Forest Reserve, and its chief executive officer is Mr. Alan Kuzuma.
And what did your investigations on Suka-Suka Law reveal?
I found out that Maju Mega Sdn Bhd is a company based in Kota Kinabalu which awarded the contract to cut down trees to Suka-Suka Law Sdn Bhd, and the contract specifically provided that all procedures relating to obtaining the permits from the government authorities must be performed by Suka-Suka Law Sdn Bhd.
Tuan, with that, the second second prosecutor has concluded the examination in chief of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu.
Thank you.
Much obliged.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yes.
Oh, the witness statement presented by the prosecution is not the witness statement that was extended to the defense counsel.
Oh, that was not the witness statement that was extended. Mr.
Yes, Your
Jaya,
Honor.
any reply?
To my knowledge, Tuan, the opposing counsel should have received the witness statement of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu bin Abdul Ababu, as we have received their witness statements as well. And the contents of this document is exactly what is written in our own witness statement, which they should have received.
I see. Mr. Aiman, is there any discrepancies of the witness statements and what you have obtained from the prosecution? Any
no, Your
major
Honor.
discrepancies, even if there is any? Even if there is any, is there any major discrepancies?
No, as of the witness statement, there are some speculations added in the presented witness statement currently.
Okay, you can do that during a cross-examination. Yeah,
Thank you.
you can
I'm
ask
much
the witness
obliged.
on that. Okay, Mr. Jaya,
Yes, sir.
if you want to ask the witness to sign the document, the prosecution witness document, witness statement.
Yes, Tuan. With the court's permission, we request the second prosecution's witness, Mr. Ahmad, to sign his witness statement.
Yes, I've signed.
Tuan, with the court's permission, the prosecution would like the letter, which was dated 9th April 2021 from the Sabah Forestry Department, previously tendered as Exhibit P7.
P1? P1?
7.
Is there a P7?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Not yet to be tendered yet.
You're proposing it to be tendered, right?
Exactly, Tuan.
Okay. Any objection from the defense?
No,
Any objection
Tuan,
of
subject
this
to
letter
cross.
to be tendered as exhibit? Through the, I don't see a problem because they are tendering it through the witness, Ahmad Ladidu.
Yes, Tuan.
Any objections, defense?
No objection.
No
Tuan.
objection. Interpreter?
Yes.
Where's the interpreter? We mark this as P7.
Much obliged, Tuan. Tuan, that concludes the examination in chief of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu.
Thank you. We can proceed with the cross.
Your Honor, the defense pray to the court to proceed with the cross-examination.
Let's proceed.
Much obliged, Tuan. Okay. We pray to the court to present ID 5. Photos.
The photograph, right?
Yeah, the photographs taken
Okay.
at the scene.
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Ahmad Ladidu, do you have any knowledge about ID 5?
Yes.
Do you agree with me that the photographer that took the pictures was Mr. Awang Ibrahim?
Yes.
Do you agree that the photos were taken by a camera that is stated in the in the document?
To be precise, counsel,
Do you agree that the photos admitted in this document were taken by a camera that is stated in the document, which was Nikon D3500 DSLR? Do you agree with me?
yes.
Do you agree with me that the photos were not taken by the UAV?
No, the UAV shows exactly the location with the longitude and latitude which the scene.
Objection. Sorry.
Who's this?
It's Jaya, the second counsel for
Yes,
the
yes, yes, Mr. Jaya.
one. Apologies. I would like to object to this question and the previous question on the grounds that these are questions that were never asked to the witness during the second examination in chief.
That is okay, because cross-examination are not confined to what being asked in the examination in chief. So they are free to ask whatever relevant.
Much obliged, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Aiman.
So I restate my question just now for confirmation. Mr. Ahmad, do you agree with me that the photos admitted by the prosecution was taken by a camera and not by the UAV? Do you agree with me?
It was taken with this Nikon camera, and the UAV shows exactly where is the site is with the exact latitude and longitude.
Mr. Ahmad, since you are not Mr. Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim, the photographer as stated in the document, do you agree with me that you are not able to produce the camera known as Nikon D3500 DSLR? Do you agree with me?
Could you restruct your question, counsel?
Do you agree with me that you are not able to produce the camera listed in the document, which was Nikon D3500 DSLR? Do you agree with me that you are not able to produce the camera?
Yes.
Do you agree with me that all of the photographs admitted by the prosecution do not show any specific longitude and latitude of the location where the alleged offense took place? Do you agree with me?
Yes, there's no longitude there.
Do you agree with me that the photographs taken are only showing the logs that were already cut off? Do you agree with me?
I do not agree with you.
Do you agree with me that all of these 5 photos did not show Mr. Alan Kusuma or any of his employees were cutting the trees based on the 5 photos? Do you agree with me?
If it is merely based on these 5 photos, yes.
By referring to these 5 photos, do you agree with me that you are not able to identify the species of the trees?
I disagree with you.
Do you agree with me that the photos are not labeled or tagged with any specific information of the species of the trees?
Yes, however, it was tagged after the photo was taken.
It's okay, that's none of my question. Do you agree with me that the photos showed the logs and trees are not labeled? That is the question. Do you agree with me? The logs are not labeled in all these 5 photos?
There are few labeling which is made by the accused, which is Mark Angus and the workers at the scene.
By looking at these 5 photos, do you agree with me that the photos could not confirm whether the logs in the picture were the logs specified in the charge sheet made against the accused? Do you agree with me?
Merely based on these photos. However,
yes, 5 photos. These 5 photos. Please stick to these 5 photos. Do you agree with me that these 5 photos could not confirm whether the logs were the logs specified in the charge sheet made against the accused? Do you agree with me? Mr. Ahmad?
The light one is the Belian and the one with the darker color is the agar wood.
Tuan, we pray to the court to present P2, the location map.
Yes, you.
Do you have any knowledge about this map, Mr. Ahmad?
Yes, certainly.
Mr. Ahmad, are you the maker of this map?
I'm not the maker of this map.
Do you agree with me that in the map admitted by the prosecution, there is no longitude and latitude?
However, there is a skill to prove the longitude and latitude, the exact location where the site is located at.
Mr. Ahmad, please stick to my question only. Do you agree with me that the map admitted by the prosecution, there is no longitude and latitude? The map admitted.
Yes.
Do you agree with me that the information illustrated in the map are just the graphic illustration with names? Do you agree with me?
Do not
Agree or not agree? That's all.
not agree.
Could you, sorry. I suggest to you, for geographical accuracy, the longitude and latitude will help to specify the location. Do you agree with me that that particular information is not illustrated in the map admitted by the prosecution? Do you agree with me?
Sorry, could you restructure your question?
For geographical accuracy, do you agree with me that longitude and latitude will help to specify any location relevant to the present case? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with me that the longitude and latitude is not specifically illustrated in this map? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Do you agree with me that the Tangkulak Forest Reserve is a huge area as illustrated in the map?
Yes.
Tuan, those are all of the questions for the cross-examination.
Okay, thank you. Re-examination, if any.
It please this court. Tuan, my name is Jaya, and I appear before this court to conduct the re-examination of the second prosecution witness, who is Mr. Ahmad Adidu. With the court's permission, the prosecution would like the both photos that were presented to the witness to be shown on the screen.
Yes, you may.
Much obliged, Tuan. Instructing solicitor, can you please display the pictures?
With the court permission, I would like to display 5 pieces of photo by sharing the screen.
Thank you. Mr. Ahmad, can you tell us who is the person who took these pictures?
Awang Ahmad Awang Ibrahim.
And who instructed Awang Ahmad to take these pictures?
Mr. Richard Lee.
And what is the specific camera that he used?
Nikon D3500 DSLR.
Mr. Ahmad, are these pictures referring to the Tangkulak Forest Reserve?
Yes.
Mr. Ahmad, what do these pictures show that you can see right now? What are all of these things?
The items being seized at the scene.
Can you tell us the items that were seized at the scene?
Sorry, counsel, could you rephrase your question?
Sure, certainly. Can you please tell us all of the items that were seized at the scene, which you can see in this picture?
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Tuan. The question is not raised during cross-examination.
Okay, they have not raised it in the cross-examination. But any event, what you have actually inquired is stated facts in the examination chief and evidence. Is that there isn't need to peruse that evidence, that form of evidence again.
Certainly. Much obliged, sir.
Unless you have other questions, you may proceed. Yeah.
Thank you. Much obliged, sir. Mr. Ahmad, instructing solicitor, can you please show the pictures that show the marks on the logs? Yes, this one. So, thank you. Mr. Ahmad, can you identify this picture? What do you see from this picture?
There are some marks on the logs itself.
Can you tell us what these marks mean? Can you also explain what the different logs are?
The light one is the Belian and the dark one is the agar wood. However, these marks are marked by the Mark Angus and his 4 workers at the scene itself.
Much obliged. With the court's permission, the prosecution requests the map of FMU 17A, B, and C to be displayed to the witness.
Yes.
Mr. Ahmad, can you see this document clearly? Is it clear to you visibly?
Yes.
Mr. Ahmad, can you tell us how you came to be in possession of this map?
All right. At first, I was given an exact longitude and latitude by Peter Mongi.
Apologies, Mr. Ahmad. My question to you was, how did you get this map? Who gave you this map?
From Mr. Richard Lee.
And do you know how Mr. Richard Lee acquired this map?
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah.
The questions are not raised during cross-examination.
So Jaya, apparently the question was not raised unless you have a specific question that was touched on by Mr. Aiman.
Yes,
you can inform us.
The specific question that Mr. Aiman asked was, he asked Mr. Ahmad Ladidu whether he's the maker of the map or not. And Mr. Ahmad Ladidu stated that he's not the maker of the map. And I'm now asking the question of how Mr. Richard Lee acquired this map to prove to the court the maker of the map, the identity of the maker of the map.
Yeah, I think it's relevant, Mr. Aiman. The question is based on what you have asked. Yeah, they're just exploring on the other side of the truth, how he acquired the map. I think it's a fair question. Yeah, you're allowed, Mr. Jaya.
Much obliged, sir. Mr. Ahmad, can you please answer the question? For clarity's sake, I'll repeat the question. Can you please tell us how Mr. Richard Lee acquired this map? Who gave Mr. Richard Lee?
Mr. Richard Lee had consulted the expert from the Sabah Forestry Department and produced the map with such, and he had provided them with the image that had captured with the UAV clearly with the latitude and longitude there. And he also provided the measurement of the crime scene that he recorded during the seizure. And by matching the image captured by the UAV and the measurement that he got during the seizure, he came out with a blue spot, which we can see from the map here, to point out the exact location with the exact measurement for the area of the illegal logging.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad. Your Honor, that concludes the re-examination of Mr. Ahmad Ladidu bin Abdullah Babu.
Thank you.
Much obliged, sir.
Any further requests? Can we discharge the witness?
With the court's permission, the second prosecutor requests the second witness to be dismissed.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Ladidu. Mr. Ahmad Ladidu is also the IO of the case, right?
That's right, Mr. Tuan.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, with the does the prosecution have any other witnesses to call?
No, Tuan. That is all.
Can we proceed with submission?
Certainly, Tuan.
Yes. Then I call upon submission to be made by the defense, followed by the prosecution. Mr. Daniel, do you mind to submit on this at the end of prosecution's case?
Yes, Tuan.
Yes, you may.
Tuan, may the defense counsel proceed with the opening statement?
Yes. You can actually not if you are not calling it defense at the moment, we want you to submit. Is there any submission that you wish to make
Oh,
at the end of prosecutions
at the present time being, no.
before I make my decisions?
No, Tuan. We will only
No,
proceed with the
no
opening
submission
statement.
at the end of prosecution. Mr. Jaya, does the prosecution have any brief submissions to make?
No, Tuan. For the purpose of this competition, it is assumed that a prima facie case has
Yeah, that will be decided by me. Yeah.
no
Are there
submission.
any submissions to be made?
Only a closing submission at the end of the trial.
Okay, right.
Much obliged, Tuan.
Ladies and gentlemen, on hearing the submissions, evidence presented, although there is no submissions made for the purpose of these competitions, but for the purpose of an accurate proceedings, a submission will be enhanced by both parties before the court finds whether a prima facie case has been proven or not. But for the purpose of this competition, we are dispensing with the submissions. Okay, let it be placed on record. Ladies and gentlemen, be that may, upon hearing and taking into considerations the relevant evidences that have been put forward by the prosecutions and being cross-examined by the defense before this court, and I'm appraised by the facts surrounding the charge against the accused person, and this court herein are guided by the tried principles laid down in Public Prosecutor against Louis Kao Chai and Public Prosecutor against Balachandran's, both decision of the federal court, where this court are obliged to follow, and the relevant provisions in the forest enactments. The finding of this court is the prosecution have proven a prima facie case, and herein I call upon the accused to enter on his defense. Thank you. You may, the defense, you might want to inform the court on the route that you wish to take in your defense.
Tuan, may the defense counsel proceed with the opening statement?
Yeah, before I proceed with the defense, perhaps we could allow about, what is the time now? Interpreter, where is the interpreter? Mr. Adam,
Yes, Tuan.
what is the exact time now?
Right now is 10:54 a.m. Tuan.
We are still within the time. Yeah, 10:54. Good observation by all parties in observing the time allotted to you. Congratulations for that. So we could take, we could stand down the matter for about 10 minutes or so before we resume for the case of defense. Thank you. We will join back. Yeah, so in 10 minutes. Yeah, Mr. Adam, please alert me when the 10 minutes time limit expires, so I could rejoin.
Will do, Tuan.
Okay, and allowing also to defense to prepare their cases. Thank you so much.
Much obliged, Tuan.
Thank you. We just stop the video and